pushing me every single day to get better.
There's something different about stepping onto the field and actually being a starter. I guess what hit you when you took the field for your first offensive series against Akron?
I mean, it was definitely a little bit of like angst into it. But, I mean, after you get that first hit, right back to high school almost.
Could you scoot up just a little bit closer?
Yep.
Perfect. That's wonderful.
Tigger, what in particular do you think you've done well through 2 weeks, and what you're trying to get better at, or things that you saw in film that maybe you need to do better?
I mean, I just try to go hard every single play. I try to put my best on the field for the guy in front of me and for the guy watching me the next week. So I try to go hard. And what I've been trying to improve is just, there's always something to improve, whether that's hands, whether that's technique, or that's feet, things like that.
Both Chip Kelly and Ryan Day both talked a lot about communication getting better in week 2. How did you see that manifest in the field, that communication, and how improved it was last week compared to the opener?
We put a lot on the older guys like Seth and Fryer, stepping up and communicating and, leading this offensive line. Seth, Fryer, and now Donovan, So, yeah, we allowed the older guys to lead, and we followed.
Tegra, is there something infectious about those big runs when you guys start churning out the 10-plus yard runs? Do they feed off of each other?
Absolutely. I mean, when you see defenses start arguing with each other and things like that, I mean, that makes it a lot easier to, have those 10, 11 play drives.
And what was that like in the Western Michigan game to start feeling like you guys were building off that? Like, it felt like in the first game you couldn't quite rip off all of those big runs, but in the second one they just kept coming.
I mean, it feels good to rip off those runs because, I mean, we put in so much work on those in practice, and, seeing the product of, that hard work, it's always good to feel.
Tegra, is there a sense that just offensive line-wise, as y'all prepare this week with Donovan back in there, that y'all are whole for the first time really this season? I'm not, it's not critiquing Austin. It's just more of Donovan Jackson, preseason All-American, et cetera, joining the group,
Donovan Jackson's a very good football player. I mean, when he's on the field, he makes his presence felt. But I mean, we've all been training like there's no tomorrow, just to improve and be the team we know we can be.
Yeah, there was a sense, at least watching you guys last week, y'all were even more of a force. It felt like watching you guys than maybe even in the opener. Did it feel like that too?
Yeah, I mean, we put in the work during practice. We practiced really hard. Coach Day really challenged us to practice hard. Our positions coaches really challenged us to practice hard, and that was just the result of it.
But when it's rolling like that, what does it feel like being in the midst of that, being a part of that?
It's awesome. It's when you work hard for something and you're able to see like what comes out of it. Like there's no better feeling than that.
Tegra, did you hear from what the Marshall coach of the NIL and the Biscuits yesterday? If so, could anybody sway you with NIL Biscuits?
Nah, I mean, that was really funny to see.
Maybe a franchise.
Tigger, what has Seth brought to you guys for the first 2 games? What's it been like playing next to him for the last 2?
He's really calm in the storm. Like, you never see real panic, and having a guy like that next to you when you haven't really played as many meaningful snaps. I mean, there's no one else I'd rather have to my left and to my right. I mean, with Fryer and Seth, those guys, they do so much for this offensive line and for me specifically.
People have talked about his intelligence really kind of showing up in the film room and on the field. Where have you noticed that intelligence, and how has that helped you?
Yeah, like I said, in crunch time, when things aren't exactly looking like how we practice it, having a guy like that, like, whoa, slow down, we'll do this, and then we go and we execute. Having a guy like that, like, there's nothing better than that. He wrote? What you got?
I don't got anything this time. Hey, what's your favorite cake?
What's my favorite cake? Red velvet.
Red velvet?
Uh-huh.
Do you like the one that Caleb made for people?
Uh-huh, no, that, I almost came back a couple times to get some more.
Yeah. Tegra, looking at Marshall, they got a couple guys on the defensive front that have Big Ten bodies,
Absolutely.
I mean, what do you see when you look at their tape and see 15-7. A couple of those guys are pretty big size guys.
Yeah, those guys, they're real players. They're real players. You can tell they're coached well. You can tell they go hard. You know, they're real players over there. And we've been practicing to the best of our ability to respect that and prepare for that.
I mean, you see, they beat Virginia Tech last year, Notre Dame the year before. I mean, they're capable of playing with the big conference teams.
They play good ball over there, and their defense plays hard. They challenge teams. Sometimes they might be overlooked, and they still challenge teams. You can tell they come out there with the mentality like, no matter who's in front of us, we're going to go hard.
Okay. Well, let me ask you. What has been the biggest challenge?
I mean, the action's right there, right in front of you right now, which is kind of a good thing and kind of a bad thing. And, I've completely shook off the rust, hitting back inside.
Have you talked to the parents
Yeah, I mean, I hear from parents every once in a while. I try not to bother them too much, but no, it's always good to hear from a guy like that, guys like DeJuan, even Matt Jones returning back.
Anything else? Good. All right, Tegra, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Tegra.
This is Clay Hall from the radio station.
Tegra.